Hello, my sweet angels. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, my laptop just decided to do something that I was not anticipating. Okay. Welcome, and this is this is my wrap up. I just completely forgot what I decided to film. This is my wrap up, my January wrap up. And I want to start by saying it does not matter how many books you read a month, whether you read 1 or you read 20, or even if you read none. Some months are like that and you just don't want to read, or you are in a reading slump or whatever. And some people don't read as fast as others. So as long as you are enjoying what you are reading and you're not forcing yourself to read, that's all that matters. And if I am looking under the camera, it's because I have my phone set right there. So that way I can look at like the order that I read the books and everything, because I have my story graph pulled up. So if that's what I'm looking at, I'm looking under you. And if I'm looking off to the side, my book journal is over here, so I can tell you my soft DNFs of the month and then the one DNF that I had this month. And also I'm going to tell you guys some stats if you are a stat person. I know I am. I love to know these kinds of stats, so I'm going to tell you those really quickly. I read 5 books this month, 4 of which were a romance. Well, 4 were romance, and then 1 was a thriller. And then the 5 books that I read, and that combining with my 1 permanent DNF and my, how many soft? 1, 2, my 3 soft DNFs, I read a total of 2,324 pages this month. And I read all 5 books on my Kindle. So, also, I'm not going to be, like, telling you what the book is about. I'm going to put, screenshots of the book description on the screen, so that way you can just read the description of what the book is about, because I always end up telling too little or too much of what the book is about, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to put screenshots of the descriptions, and let's get right into it. So I forgot to put some stuff in the video, so I'm filming it all now. It's a bit later. It's not much later, but I forgot that I forgot to tell you guys the tropes of the books that I read, and I also forgot to tell you what was on my TBR. So I'm going to do that very quickly and just edit this and put these clips throughout the video where they're supposed to be. So these are the 12 books that I had on my TBR for the month. I don't make TBR videos because that would affect the time that I have to edit and film other videos for the channel. So I don't film TBR videos, but I do want to put like my TBRs in the wrap-ups. So these were the 12 books that were on my TBR, and I read 3 of them. 2 of them I fully read, 1 of them I DNF, but I'm counting it. So I started off the month with Burned Dreams by Neva Altaj, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, please tell me and I will try to figure out how to pronounce it correctly. But I gave this a 3-star. It was good. It was enjoyable. The plot was really fun. A little predictable at times, and it was also sad to read from Ravina's point of view, because this book follows Alessandro. I always wanted to say Alejandro, but I'm thinking of a completely different book with that character. But it's Alessandro and Ravina's book. I don't believe you meet Ravina in any previous books. I think this is the first book that you meet her in, because this is the 7th book in the Perfectly Imperfect series. And then Alessandro, I want to say you meet in book 5. Stolen Touches, I want to say, is where you meet him, because he's in Salvatore's, like, mafia, I don't want to say gang, but, like, that mafia group. So yeah, I want to say you meet Alessandro in the 5th book, Stolen Touches, in this series. And I was really excited. I enjoyed this, but let's see. I enjoyed this. Like I said, the plot was really fun and enjoyable, and it was sad to read about in Ravina's point of view because of certain things that happen. Which, definitely check the trigger warnings for this book. Check the trigger warnings for this entire series, because it is like I mean, they are dark romances, but I feel like these are the perfect kind of dark romance to start off with, because they're not super dark, but still check your trigger warnings as usual. I feel like for any romance book, contemporary or rom-com or dark romance, definitely always check your trigger warnings because you never know, you know. But I liked the banter between Alessandro and Ravina, but this was kind of just average for me, and I haven't thought about it again since I finished it. So I gave it a 3-star. It's average. I enjoyed it, but I've not thought about it again since I finished it. And then I had my first 5-star read of the year and my first 5-star read since I think like October of last year. I read the Mindfuck series in October of last year and gave every book 5 stars. And it's a 5-star series overall. And so I have not had a 5-star since I read that series. So it feels so good to actually have a 5-star book again. But it's Hidden Empire by K.L. Mann. The only thing is, this is the first book in a series, and the second one isn't even out yet. We have a release date. It's April 11th, I believe. But I'm so sad. And like, I'm so sad because I can't immediately read it. But, and I don't know who all's getting books. I don't know if all the brothers are getting books. But this was so good. I enjoyed the plot. I loved the plot, honestly. I mean, there wasn't like a huge plot. It's just kind of Jade going to this like secret mafia school, or this like secret school on a secret island for mafia kids. But oh my god, I loved the basically no plot, and I loved all the characters. I loved all the dynamics. I mean, Jade and Dimitri were so cute together. Jade and Dimitri were so cute together. My phone scares me every time it makes a noise because I'm still getting used to it. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Jade and Dimitri are all like, their dynamic is so cute and sweet. And then her dynamic with his brother Ivan, oh my god, I love it. And her dynamic with all of her brothers were so cute and funny. And the found family is one of my favorite, I mean, like one of my favorite tropes overall, but this is one of the best found families that I have ever read, and I enjoyed that aspect of it so much. And I loved everything about this book overall. I will say it does have the accidental pregnancy trope, which you should know going into it, and that's the only reason I told you about it, because I know that trope is not for everyone, and I know some people try to avoid that trope. So just fair warning, it does have that trope in it, but I loved it. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the accidental pregnancy trope, but I personally didn't care in this book because I loved it so much. Next, I read her, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this author's name because I know I'm just going to like butcher it. So I ended up giving this book a 2.5 star. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't interested in this book, like the plot-wise and character-wise. I just didn't care about anything until, I want to say 50 to 60% of the book. Then that's when like things started to really start moving and start progressing. And that's when I really started to kind of care about the characters and care about the plot and actually be interested. And due to that, I gave it a 2.5 just because I haven't thought about it again. It wasn't the book for me. Like, I liked it, but not until the last 50 to 60%. So yeah, that's why I decided to rate it a bit lower. But of course, give this book a try if you're, you know, if you're into all of that. Then I read When She Needs the Most by Jillian West because I'm trying to be better at reading books as they release, because I have so many like anticipated releases, but I'd never read them on time. I always let them release and then wait months until I actually pick them up. So I'm trying to get better at reading releases as they release. So I picked up this one, I think on release date actually, and I gave it 3.5 stars. This is a ABO rom-com, like contemporary. This is an ABO book though, like an ABO romance. So if you're not into that, don't pick this up because this is ABO at its finest. But I personally enjoy a good ABO romance every now and then. I can actually think of 3 more ABO romances I've read off the top of my head, so maybe I like it more than I say I am, or than I think I do. But I really enjoyed this book. It was really fun. The plot was fun, even though there was almost no plot. There was basically no plot other than her being harassed. That was basically the only plot there was. But I enjoyed it, and I liked all the characters, and I could relate to each character in a way. And I really liked their dynamic. Like, I liked the boys' dynamic with each other, and then I liked her dynamic with all of them. And I just thought it was a really cute, fun, fluffy, kind of palate cleanser romance. So I gave it 3.5 stars. And then this is when we get into my DNF and soft DNF time, because I got a reading slump. And I still am kind of in a reading slump, which sucks. But I read her too because I very gratefully received an ARC. And I am insanely grateful for receiving an ARC of it. But I decided to DNF it, I think 30% or so into the book, because it just wasn't for me. This one follows Olivia and Jason. I believe that's his name. I could be wrong, but I think that's his name. And you meet them in the first book. And this, the plot of this book was so confusing to me. I didn't understand what was going on. I really didn't. Like, I think it was it was definitely a flashback book. Like, this book takes place before the first book. But other than that, I did not understand anything. I didn't understand it, and I was so confused. And I think that's part of why I decided to DNF it, because I hate being confused in a romance book. Like, a thriller book and a mystery book, you're supposed to be confused. But I hate being confused in a romance, which I think contributed definitely to me deciding to DNF it. But it wasn't for me, and I hate to say that I DNF'd it because it was an ARC, but it wasn't for me. And then my 3 soft DNFs of the month. This next one pains me to say, but I soft DNF'd Phantom by H.G. Carlton. It physically hurts me to say that, because I downloaded this book on my Kindle on release date and immediately picked it up. I read 20% of this book and decided to soft DNF it and come back to it at a later time, because I know I'm going to love this book. I know I'm going to love this book because this is Gigi's book. And if you have not read The Cat and Mouse Duet, Gigi is Adeline's grandmother. And something happened. Oh my god, my hair. Something happened to Adeline's grandmother, and this is kind of her book, and I guess you're going to find out what happened to her. But I could tell. I just wasn't in the mood for this book. I wasn't obsessing over it, and I just honestly didn't care, which hurts me to say, but I just wasn't in the mood for it. So I'm definitely going to come back to it at a later time. Definitely going to come back to it at a later time, but I decided to soft DNF it this month. And then the next book I soft DNF'd at 9%. It was Take Me Apart by Skylar Snow, and it was written by another author, but I can't think of what the author's name is. But yeah, decided to DNF it at literally 9%. But this is just because I could tell it I wasn't in the mood for it. I wasn't in the mood for Mafia. I wasn't in the mood for MM. I wasn't in the mood. I don't think I was in the mood for romance in general. So I decided to just soft DNF it. I could tell it wasn't my cup of tea at the time. But I'm definitely going to come back to it, because that entire series, which is 4 books, and I think the 5th book is coming out this year, they are all MM romances, and yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I'm definitely going to come back to the series. This one hurts me to say, because I soft DNF'd this book at 48%. I literally soft DNF'd this book at 48%. Tell me why. Tell me why my mind decided to soft DNF a book at 48%. It was Silent Lies by Neva Altaj. And oh my god, I literally was reading this book and I was enjoying it. I was having a great time. And then I reached 48%. And I went to bed. The next day I woke up and I went to pick it up to read, and I was like, I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this. Like, I was dreading picking it up. And I was like, why? Why am I dreading picking this up when I was just enjoying it last night? So, yeah. Decided to soft DNF that at 48%. I was having a great time. I was loving the plot. I was loving the characters. I was loving the dynamic. And alas, the next day I was dreading picking it up, so I decided to just put it aside, and I'll come back to it at a later time. And then I decided, okay, I have soft DNF'd 3 romances. Let's try a different genre now. So I decided to pick up a thriller, mystery thriller. I always classified, like, I always put mysteries and thrillers in one group instead of separating them, because I never know how to, I never know which one it is. So I just always say both. So I decided to pick up a thriller and mystery thriller. And it was Her Final Breath by Robert Dugoni. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But it's the second book in the Tracy Crosswhite series. And I really enjoyed this. I don't know what it is about his books. I say that having read 2. But so far, his books are just addicting. They're not crazy plots. Like, they're basic plots for a cop main character thriller mystery. But it's just something about his plots. They're always addictive. And they always, like, get me addicted to the story and wanting to find out what happened. And I gave this book a 3-star. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. But it was average. Like, the plot wasn't insane. The plot twist wasn't insane. I will say, both of his books that I've read, the person who ended up, like, doing the crimes wasn't on my suspect list. And then once they get revealed, I'm always like, why was this person not on my suspect list? Literally, why was this person not on my suspect list? How? How was this person not on my list? But the second book, there's like a couple chapters leading up to the big reveal, and I did guess who the person was, who the cowboy killer was, but not until the chapters leading up to the reveal, and then I guessed who they were. I don't want to give away pronouns, but I guessed who they were during the chapters leading up to the big reveal. And it's, I swear, every time it's, why was this person not on my suspect list? How? Like, and it's not insane. Like, every plot twist, every, like, reveal makes sense. But it's always just a person you never suspect. And I'm like, how? But yeah, 3 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. But they're not books that I'm, like, constantly going to be thinking about. And it's not a book that I've thought about since finishing it. And I literally finished it on the 27th, so 2 days ago. And I haven't thought about it since. So it's just very, like, my 3 stars are very, like, average. I enjoyed it, but probably not going to think about it again. But I would definitely recommend this if you want a more realistic, I will say, so far both books in the series have been like 400 something pages. But I really like that because it's not necessarily fast-paced. I like it because it's more realistic pacing. It's not a very fast-paced series. Both books have been more realistic pacing, which is what I like about it. I like the fact that it is more realistic. Like, in a lot of thrillers and mysteries where you're following a, like, cop or law enforcement main character, it's very fast-paced, and they're always figuring out something in the case. But with these, it, like, you figure something out, and then you have that, like, cold spell, I guess, where you're not finding out any new information. You don't have any new information. You have no new DNA. You have no new, like, signs from the killer. And then, so you have to work with what you've got, and then you find out something new, and then another code spell, which is what I like about it. It's more realistic because you don't catch a killer that quick. But yeah, you don't catch a killer that quickly in real life like they do in some books. And so I like the more realistic pacing of, you know, the crimes and the catching the killer and stuff. So I do like that more realistic aspect to it. But if you want a fast-paced mystery thriller, the series is not for you. It's more realistic, slower pacing, which I really enjoy about the book. And I really enjoy that more realistic aspect to it. Yeah, those are the 5 books that I read in January. I hope you can either find a book that sounds good to you, or you could hear an opinion about a book that you've been wanting to read. And yeah, this was just really, really fun. And I don't know when I'll next see you. I'm currently filming a separate reading vlog video, but I don't know when I'll get it up. And I don't know when I'll see you guys next. But I will see you guys soon, angels.